Hello guys, what's up and welcome to the new tutorial from the SketchUpArchStudio. In this tutorial we will dive into the interior rendering with Enscape 3.5.6, one of the loveliest versions of Enscape because I really like this version. It's really fast, reliable, and you can use it in different type of lighting and situations for your rendering. So in this case we have some simple, I think pre-modern living room in here. So I'm gonna click on the Enscape in here and I can move, walk and change my camera position. Like the other tutorials, I'm gonna press F and switch back to the interior number 2 as my main shot and camera in here. So after I do this job, I'm gonna close the view management, turn on the save frame, click on the projection, change it to the 2-point perspective. But in this camera shot, you don't need to change it to the 2-point perspective because it's pitch camera on the 0 point and you don't need any type of necessary changes to your projection. So I'm going to set it back to the perspective in here, click on the visual setting and start my rendering. I'm going to save this render setting and you can download this render setting below this video. So let's get to work. I'm going to reduce the field of view as I can to make some unique shot for my job. For example, some number about 64 degrees enough. I'm going to click on the exposure and increase the exposure a little bit, about 54%. If you use low config systems, you can turn down the rendering quality to the medium mode or draft mode, but you have some changes on your render and quality, especially on your lighting calculation. I use GTX 1060 4GB, so I'm going to increase the rendering quality on the ultra mode, and you can see what really happened. Your light calculation will be increased and you can see other type of lightings and brightnesses in your job. So try to hold it in some good number which is suitable with your computer. 61% for the exposure, or maybe I can increase it more and more, about 67%. I'm going to increase the depth of field and you can see what really happened inside your render. If I increase it to the 100, we will have some completely blurred image in here. So I think some number about 11% is completely normal, but turn off the autofocus and play with the focal point and you can see the shiny line in here. For example, I can focus on this sofa in here or I can focus on this table in here. It completely depends on you. I prefer to focus on this part of my job, main point of my render. So I'm going to turn back the focal point to some place like that. So 3.68 meter is enough, and depth of field I think is good, not bad. You can change it to the 8% for better result. I'm going to click on the image bar in here and click on the auto contrast in this place. Auto contrast help you to calculate light and exposure in your rendering much easier than the other times. Saturation can be increased, but you can see what really happened. Vibrance of colors and textures will be increased unnormal, and I think it can completely destroy your render. In the real world, we don't have some lights like that because they are completely artificial. So try to use them on normal values and numbers. So click on the visual setting image bar and reduce the saturation to 106%. If you want warm render, decrease color temperature, and if you want cold render, increase it. In this scene, I think I can increase it a little bit, about 7000 Kelvin. Lens flare can be used in this scene, and I will talk about it why. You can see some blurriness and fading lights in this part of your sofa. If I go near to it, you can see it like that. It's some type of clothes and fabrics reflection. So I can increase bloom and lens flare in this scene, but I need to be careful because it can completely sensitive setting. So click on the visual setting. And if I increase the bloom option, look at the screen in here. When I increase the bloom option, you can see what really happened to the lights. And I don't think it's realistic because it's a little bit animational or cartoonic. So try to use some good number like 9% for the bloom option, or if you want to increase it, don't increase it higher than some normal values or parameters. 23% is enough. lens flare can be increased, and you can see what really happened inside your job. We can see some flares in here and this part of my camera. So it's really sensitive. I try to use it on some normal values. Vignette can be increased to the 44%. Chromatic aberration is 0. Click on the atmosphere. Now you can play with the sun brightness. It's really important in these type of interior renderings, which you have the direct lighting of sun. So I need to reduce the sun brightness, and you can see what really happened. Sometimes when you reduce sun brightness, it's really interesting. Your interior design will get more brighter, because GI calculation is one of the most valuable parameters in your interior rendering. So in this scene, I want to change sun brightness to the 32%. And I think it's enough for me. Night sky is not really useful, but shadow sharpness. As a matter of fact, the time of the day near to the morning, and absolutely we have some sharp shadows. And we have direct sun in here, so I'm going to increase the shadow sharpness as I can to some value like over 80, for example 88%. I didn't use any type of spotlight, so don't touch artificial light brightness, but ambient brightness work as a hyperlight in Lumion or V-Ray. So when I increase the ambient brightness, you can see some areas, for example backside of this sofa, or some places under these chairs can be get more brighter. It depends on ambient brightness when you have direct sun angle in your render. So 66% is enough for now. I don't want to make it unrealistic. The skybox is good, output is good, and everything is fine in here. Outline is okay, and in the style, when I change it from none mode to the white mode, in here I can see direct sun calculations, and I think it's really wonderful. So when you want to set out your sun, you can use white mode as the test render. So I'm going to change it back to the none mode. Everything is fine in here, but I have some problem with the camera. I don't know why. So I'm going to click on the edit mode, and I think the height of my camera is not really good. For example, I'm going to change it to the 4. Now it's much better, or maybe 3.88, something like that is not bad, but I think 3.94 is normal, 98, like that, and click on the save option in here. Interior number 2 updated for me. I'm going to click on the visual setting, reduce the field of view to the 63 in here, and exposure is about 68%. Minimize Enscape at the right side and SketchUp in the left side. Click on the Enscape material editor, and I have to change my floor setting. So I'm gonna work with wood number 6, or maybe some other type of, no, it's correct, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna rotate this texture like that, and you can see what really happened. For example, when I change it to the 90, the texture of the floor will be changed for me. I'm going to change it to the 0 like that. Increase the size of them, 1.46, 1.66. Now I have better texture about floor. I'm going to reduce the image fade to the 90 because I need a little bit white tint color in my main texture. Intensity is about 144. Roughness is about 4, and now I can see more reflections on my job. Metallica is about 6, and I think everything is fine. 69 for the spectacular is acceptable. And in the final job, I can change sun angle. It's not necessary. I only want to test what will happen. I hold Ctrl on my keyboard and press U and I to see what will happen in my job. Like that. For example, some lighting like this is not bad, but my total lighting is fine. So in these type of renders, if you come to the atmosphere, look at these floor in here. When I reduce the shadow sharpness to the 0, we would have some soft shadows. So it completely depends on you. You want hard shadows or soft shadows. I think soft shadow is not bad in opposite of my knowledge of rendering, but I like this one in here. So click on the screenshot in this place. Select your saving place. I want to select desktop and click on the save option in here. In this tutorial, you learned how to use Enscape for SketchUp. Very simple and easy. And you can create these type of realistic renders. Very simple. At the end of this tutorial, I will show you how you can save your render setting and use it for different type of renders. So rendering will be a start for me, and I will wait for it to the end of it. Alright, my render is done in here, so I'm going to show you what is the final result of this render. As you can see, everything is fine. Lighting, textures, materials, camera shot, and camera angle. Some type of shadows in here. Everything is completely reliable and acceptable. So I'm going to come back to the Enscape environment, click on the visual setting. And now I want to save all of these settings, for example, for my next projects or my next renders. So we have some arrow in here. I'm going to click on this arrow, and you can see we have custom preset with the Apollo's icon. And here we have another custom preset. Exactly this one is our main setting for right now. So when I move my cursor around, I can see these nodes in here. When I click on it, I can click on the save as file, and I can save it as the visual setting preset format. So file name, for example, interior, and I will call it sunny, like that, or some other name like daylight. And I want to save it on my desktop. As you can see, when I come back to my desktop, interior daylight.json saved for me. I will come back to the Enscape, click on these three nodes in here, and click on the reset to default. Everything will be resetted for me. And now I don't know how I can return my camera shot to the main setting. For example, my sun angle is this one, and now I have this camera. So click on the visual setting, click on this arrow in here, click on this option in here, import, and select your render setting from your desktop, interior daylight. Click on the open, and everything will be reset for you. I'm going to click on the interior number 2 for sun reception, and this is the final job that we have in here. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If this tutorial is useful for you, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thanks for your time, thanks for your watching, and goodbye.